Whenever your favorite artist or band releases a new album, it's always an exciting feeling, right? That you're gonna be getting new music from the people that made you who you are. But what happens when said artist or band releases an album and it ends up being subpar or not as great as you want it to be? That's what we call a disappointment. It happens to everyone, and unfortunately there were albums this year that I thought were pretty disappointing. So we're going to be talking about those today in this video. These are albums that I really wanted to like more than I actually did, but unfortunately I wasn't able to enjoy them as much as everyone else had. None of these albums I feel are bad. None are unlistenable by any means, but I also wasn't able to really enjoy these albums as much as a lot of other people did. As with any list video, I want to point out that I have not heard every album that came out this year. So when I was not here, there's a good chance that I haven't heard it. Also, if you enjoy any of these albums, more power to you. That's perfectly fine. It's all opinion based, and I just wasn't able to get that same level of enjoyment as you did. This list is not going to be in any particular order, just a list of albums this year that I thought were disappointing. Leave a like, share with others, and let's get going to see what I felt were the most disappointing albums of the year.
They told themselves to be a cult. They didn't know as many strategies.
The first of these disappointments I've heard was Cracker Island by the virtual band Gorillaz. The project of Damon Albarn and Jamie Hewlett came back with a brand new album, and this was an album that I was actually kind of looking forward to hearing. Now with me and Gorillaz, this band has always been pretty hit or miss with me for their albums. They have albums I absolutely love, like Demon Days and Humans, but they also have albums that I don't really care about and think they're kind of overrated, like Plastic Beach and the Now Now. I know that's probably a hot take, but I stand by that. It's weird for me, but whenever they released a title track with Thundercat and News Gold with Tame Impala and Bootie Brown last year, I really dug those songs, and I was excited for Cracker Island. But when the album dropped, oh man, this album was a slog to get through. They tried to make this album kind of synthy, but also kind of tropical at the same time, like you're on like a vacation in Hawaii. The problem that I have with this album though is that outside of the singles I already mentioned, and also a couple other songs like Silent Running that I really did like, and Oil with Stevie Nicks of Fleetwood Mac, this album was just there. Not really else, other than just kind of just being there for a certain vibe that I don't think is really necessarily my thing. Much of this album I just thought wasn't really interesting, and I found myself bored a lot of the time, with the likes of The Tired Influencer, Tarantula, and Baby Queen. And don't even get me started on Tormented with Bad Bunny, cause that one got me so irritated. I know some people like Bad Bunny, I can't stand him. His vocals are nails on a chalkboard for me, and it just bugged me to no end. So that's definitely unfortunate. Cracker Island was just not really interesting for me overall. It was a vacation that I didn't really have that much interest spending my time there. Oh man, this one hurts, but the new record from The Used, Toxic Positivity, this one left me so disappointed. Now, I love The Used. Their early work like Self-Titled and In Love with Death are amazing albums. But real talk, they haven't made a great album since 2007's Life for the Life. And that was 16 years ago. So many of their albums since then have been incredibly mediocre, like Vulnerable and The Canyon, and at times, very bad like on Imaginary Enemy. I was low-key nervous for this because the one-off singles of Fuck You and People Are Vomit were so passive-aggressive. I'm all for self-hatred and hating the world, positivity, and all that stuff. But this is not the way to do that. Thankfully, those songs were on the actual album, but even still, Toxic Positivity shows a lot of problems with modern youth. The lyrics on this album get really childish. Look at songs like I Hate Everyone and Dopamine, and you'll see what I mean. These guys are in their 40s, and this is what they chose to write about. The production on this album wasn't good either, thanks to longtime producer John Feldmann. This is the 8th album he produced for them, and I'm starting to think that they should change producers sometime, because everything here sounds so overproduced and it gets nauseating. There are still songs here that I like though. Numb is still a great single. I really liked House of Sand and Cherry for being softer. Pink is where it's pretty fun, and Giving Up is actually a really great song, and I can see this being a good concert staple for the future. A lot of stuff sounds good on here. They can still play, Burke can still sing, but they really need to stop with this mediocrity because it just gets harder to stomach with each passing album. And this is coming from a big Used fan. Well, this was one that I wasn't expecting to be let down for. Nothing But Thieves are one of the best modern rock bands from the 2010s. Their albums of The Self-Titled from 2015 and Broken Machines from 2017 I think are amazing albums. I know Moral Panic got a mixed reception, but I ended up really loving the album despite that. So my expectations for a new Nothing But Thieves album was pretty high. But what we got on Dead Club City was a bunch of 80s rock cheese that left me blue balled. I thought this album was going to be pretty good because I dug the lead single, Welcome to the DCC, and Overcome. But when the album dropped, it really left me wanting more. What shocked me most about this album was how empty a good majority of this album was. Connor Mason, who's normally an incredible vocalist, felt bored a lot of the time. And that's a bad sign coming from the band. Musically, a lot of this is dedicated to the 80s. Too much, in fact, because songs like Keeping You Around, Green Eye Sienna, and Talking to Myself don't have a lot going on. City Haunts kinda has Connor's weaker vocals, and the closer Pop the Balloon feels awkward and sounds kind of like a Royal Blood ripoff. And I really like Royal Blood too. It's not all bad though, there are still songs I like. I already like the first two songs I already mentioned, but I also really like Tomorrow Is Closed and Members Only. Do You Love Me Yet is very infectious, and I wish they did more stuff like that. Dead Club City wasn't what I was expecting, and it also left me pretty disappointed. I know they could bounce back from this, just maybe dial back on the 80s.
The 80s called! They want their cell phones back!
Hey, speaking of Royal Blood, look who's here. It's gonna look bad for me for having Royal Blood on here, cause I know they get hate from a lot of people already for ripping off 70s rock and metal bands like Led Zeppelin, but I really like their sound, and also don't listen to 70s music. The past 3 albums I thought were all really great. Mike Carr and Ben Thatcher are super talented with their sound, so that's my defense for Royal Blood. But with their new album, Back to the Water Below, it shows that they're becoming a one-trick pony and they need to change styles fast, because this is more of the same that we've been given. The problem here is that Royal Blood, they're on cruise control, making the same music that is very safe and staying in their own lane without trying to do anything different. There's nothing wrong with being a one-trick pony if you could do it well. Chevelle and Rise Against do their trick in spades, but with Royal Blood, it's starting to get old. And remember, this is all coming from a fan of theirs. I still think there are good songs on here. Pull Me Through is a great single. I also really like Tell Me When It's Too Late and High Waters for having great energy. And How Many More Times has a nice classic feeling that I really did love. But others like Mountains at Midnight, The Firing Lane, There Goes My Cool, all blend in together. I sincerely hope this band changes style soon, because if this keeps up, people are gonna lose interest in them sooner rather than later.
You're gonna get so, you're gonna get so.
Finally, the last disappointment I have to share with y'all is the new album from Taking Back Sunday, 152. This is their first album in 7 years since 2016's Tidal Wave, which I was indifferent personally. Now I love Taking Back Sunday. I love so many of their albums like Tell Your Friends, the self-titled, and especially Louder Now. Louder Now is one of my favorite albums of all time. So of course I really love Taking Back Sunday. So while I was excited to see Taking Back Sunday making music again, I was also concerned because I didn't care for Tidal Wave, and the lead single, The One, was pretty whatever. But after hearing this album in full multiple times, I really struggled to like this album, man. When this album is at its best, it reminds me of Happiness Is, which is a great album. So songs like Soul and New Music Friday made me quite happy. I don't know how to pronounce this. Alphanumens Smiles? I think that's how you pronounce it. And Keep Going grew on me a lot too. But besides from those songs, oh boy, this album was very boring musically. What broke my heart the most though was Adam Lazzara's vocals. His vocals sound completely shot at this point. You can just hear in the songs that he really struggles to keep those notes like he did back then. From what I've seen of live footage of clips, he also has a hard time singing this stuff live. And I'm pretty sure this is because of the non-stop smoking, drinking on tour, and the constant lineup changes that's been going on from the start. Because this band has really struggled to have a healthy, consistent lineup. This album was very, very disappointing for me. This wasn't the most disappointing album I heard all this year, but overall, Adam, please, I beg of you, please take care of your voice. It'll be better for you and us as fans. You win some, you lose some. That's just how it goes in the music world if an artist or band lets you down. Everyone can bounce back from a disappointment, so I'm sure that these bands can make it up and try again next time. What did you think of my list? Agree or disagree? Leave a comment giving your thoughts and tell me what albums you thought let you down the most this year. Remember, it's all my opinion, so no need to give people a hard time for not agreeing with someone. Thanks for watching, like this video, share with others, and I'll see you in the next year-end list video.